I love the term window shopper, right? Like, we've kind of called this AI tourism a little bit. And I'm even a part of the problem because the content that I create is like, ooh, shiny object. Ooh, shiny object.
Yeah.
Look at this new tool. Look at this new tool that does X, Y, and Z. And people are no longer committing to learning one particular software. They're jumping ship immediately. And that, especially when you have virality. This is the potential downside of having a consumer software tool and a viral engine is you're going to reach a lot of those people that are not the right fit for your software.
Yeah.
And so what happens is it artificially increases your churn because of those window shoppers that come in. The real problem is that a lot of them don't stick around because they're chasing something that they're not really ready for. And they're really not the right target demographic to use the tool in the first place.
Welcome back to The Retention Effect. Jordan Metter here, co-founder of Ravato. And I've got an exciting episode for you guys here today. You're going to want to lock in because I guarantee you are going to walk away with golden nuggets from this incredible guest, my friend, Austin Armstrong, who you and I had connected probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and have built a friendship and even a working relationship. And have been astounded by what you've been able to achieve. I'm sure you get that all the time. But multiple millions of followers on social media. You have a long history of not only building big audiences, but also building some really cool products, especially in the AI SaaS world. So Austin is the founder of Syllaby, amongst many other things. He's got Threadmaster AI as well as other products that he creates. So between developing AI SaaS all the way to vibe coding SaaS products, he's got a book that we will bump here at the end, all about how to go viral. I don't know that I've met somebody, Austin, who you have this veracity. I don't know like what peptides you're on or what vitamins you take every day or something, but you are like so locked in and so fast and so like effective about what you're doing. I have so much to talk about in this time, but first, welcome welcome to the show.
Jordan, thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate you. It's an honor to know you. It's been amazing hanging out with you several times. Shout out to BOE. And I'm just excited to nerd out with you here about software, being an entrepreneur, MRR, the ups and downs of everything.
Love it. Well, all right, we're gonna do our rapid fire really quick. So give us the 10-second overview of what is, primarily Syllabi, and what is it and why did you create it?
Syllabi is a tool that lets business owners and entrepreneurs bring any idea to a publishable video on social media in a matter of minutes. From idea to script to video to publish. I created Syllabi because I was in the marketing agency world for about 12 years doing organic video marketing, video production. And there were a lot of reasons and problems associated with why a business hired us in the first place. They don't know what topics to create. They don't know what to say on camera. They need help staying consistent and accountable. They don't want to do editing. They don't know how to market themselves, or they don't have the time. All of these reasons, all of these problems. Now, the other problem there is marketing agencies are expensive, takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And transparently, as an entrepreneur, I got really burned out in the agency space, being in that for 12 years. Very high highs, insanely profitable months where you're like, everybody wins. I literally took my team to Disneyland at one point. And then there are incredibly low lows where you lose multiple key clients back to back. And you go from top of the world to crap, am I able to make payroll this month? To no boundaries with the clients where they will call you midnight on a Saturday and you feel obligated to take that call to solve something. It was an emotional roller coaster for me. I burned out, had to actually ran my agency into the ground, unfortunately, because I had to step away for various reasons. I was also focusing on Syllabi at that time, but I wanted to continue to help those people just in a different capacity, because video marketing, social media marketing has changed my life. It's given me everything that I've wanted. I continue to grow. I continue to scale by focusing on these best practices in a systematic way. And even though the agency model did not work for me, I still wanted to be able to solve those core problems of why someone was hiring us in the first place. And I always told the team at Socialty Pro, that was the agency, and this is going to sound a little strange, but kind of the startup ecosystem world of, we are not an agency. We are a proven system of growth that happens to be in the current life cycle of an agency. This will evolve into something else. And it eventually evolved into what is Syllaby. And so I wanted to create Syllaby to systematize, streamline, and automate all of the tasks that we were doing at the marketing agency, make it more accessible, make it literally 100 times cheaper, and remove any issue or barrier to entry preventing a business owner from getting their message out there in video format, which is the number one format of content.
Hey, are you offering subscriptions or high ticket payment plans in your business? Well, I know for a fact the number one problem that you're going to be facing is churn or retention overall. You and no one on your team wants to be dealing with this. It's difficult, it's time consuming, and to build these systems for high retention is extremely hard. That's why we exist here at Rivado. We're a fully done for you service where we install into your existing systems. You have no changes to your product, your price points, your internal teams. There's no new hires. And we literally go out and recover failed payments, renegotiate payment plans with your customers, and even deflect hard cancellary requests. We're entirely performance based. So we don't even have anything to sell you. You literally don't pay us a penny until after we've won back some of your at-risk customers. Want to invite you to a demo with us? Get information on the link down below. So as I understand it, you bootstrap the entire thing. What is annual revenue looking like right now? And what's kind of the growth rate been like since you founded the company?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. So looking at an annual perspective, so year one was about 630,000 annual. Year two was about 740,000 annual. This year, which is year three, we are going to be about 1.4 million. It has been a constant, MRR is like a constant battle throughout the year. But when we look at ARR annualized, we are on an upward trajectory. And this was by far our best year. We doubled our annual revenue this year.
So building AI SaaS, I'm finding that there is with the proliferation of making it so kind of easy to build AI SaaS. There's been a lot of platforms jumping out, and I'm sure, you're in a competitive landscape of video generation, but also starting off, it was very expensive. Credits were expensive. It'd be tough to maintain margins where you're making it easier for people to dive into that. But almost all the time, Sora and Nano Banana and all these tools that are really focused in on this sector coming out with new features all the time. What was a bit of your thought process from like the point where you started? Is that a concern for you about new features coming out onto the market, new competitors, and just kind of the difficulty of standing out in the AI video SaaS space?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it was competitive for a little bit. So Syllabi is the A to Z process, and that's always how we look at things. And we've been hyper focused on being the best A to Z video marketing tool, period. So you mentioned some great tools out there. Sora 2, there's Google VO3, Nano Banana's image generation tool. There's all of these other tools out there. I don't see them as competition because it's just one component of what we do. Up until about 4 months ago, how we generated videos was more so we pull B-roll or we generate images and then animate those images and package it into a video. That is unsustainable. So the direction that we went to make sure that not only are we defensible against new models that come out there, but are fast reacting, is switching to being able to insert the APIs of those models into the generation flow. So we actually completely shifted our UI and our primary flagship feature within Syllabi to text to video is what we're labeling it. And so within text to video now, You can type in anything that you want, or you can still find topic ideas, trending searches that your customers are searching for. And you can select the model that you want to create with it. So you can create Sora 2 videos in Syllabi. You can create Google VO3 videos in Syllabi, Seed Dance. And then once your video is created, we also have an asset library, so you can use those videos as B-roll, edit them into your existing videos or new videos, and you can connect and schedule and publish to all of your social media accounts. So Sora 2 and Google VO3, they're really only video generation. They don't have the before and they don't have the after. We are looking to be the A to Z process. So the new solution that we have now, in my mind, makes us way more scalable and way more defensible, because anytime a new cutting edge video generation AI model comes out, we can just plug into it as immediately. We have a turnaround time now within 1 to 2 weeks, assuming that there's no UI, UX figures there or things that we need to design. We can plug that in. So now Syllabi is your A to Z video generation tool that immediately allows you to use the most powerful AI video generation tool in the market.
So I want to break down a bit of that team aspect, and then we'll move into acquisition, because I know a lot of that's one burning question is like, how do people generate customers for platforms like this, especially? But first, in terms of the team, what did your initial maybe MVP version of your team look like, and then what does it look like today, and maybe even some of the challenges around finding the right devs, like people who actually can execute at a high level and are going to be A players. That they're very tough to find and to retain, especially. And we'll get to retention here in a bit as far as customer retention, but internal team retention is critical too. So yeah, what did your internal team look like at the very start, and what does it look like today?
Yeah. So the original team was myself and my two co-founders. So I'm CEO and basically CMO, but our CTO, our Chief Technical Officer, and then our COO/CFO, Dr. G. That's our executive team. And then we soon brought on several virtual assistants to handle customer service and assist with marketing tasks. We had two developers, a dedicated front end and a dedicated back end developer at the beginning. We didn't even have a UI UX designer at the beginning. So it was a front end. It was the three founders, I think two VAs, and a front end and a back end engineer. And then we really have scale since then. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We actually just recently had to do a round of layoffs, unfortunately, because now we're in like a step back to grow again phase. Take one step back to go 2 steps forward, hopefully. So we're about a team of 15. At our peak, we were about a team of 25, lots of VAs, about 8 developers, some full stack, some front end, some back end. We have a QA person, quality assurance. We have 2 designers. We had 2 product owners, product managers. We now have 1.
And
That's the extent of,
sourcing
that's
these
what our
just
team looks
from
like right now.
like internal team or referrals and whatnot? Or have you found a good source for finding like really A player team members?
It's a combination. We've used recruiters to help find strategic roles. We've hired a lot through Upwork in particular. We have a very meticulous hiring process for coders. For instance, we do rounds of coding tests and we assign little tasks to look at their quality of code. And then our developer team reviews that process. Same thing with hiring marketing assistants or VAs. We actually put them kind of in like a staging environment before we even bring them into the team ecosystem. So we have them create little micro tasks and jobs just to assess their quality of work, their overall communication, how they show up on camera. If they are never on camera, it's not a good fit. We like to have everybody on camera when we do our Zoom calls, Google Meet calls, whatever, team meetings. And it typically is a several week process to eliminate people that we just don't feel are as quality as we need in this space, because we're also very AI forward as well. So you have to have some experience with AI in your job role as well. You can't, like, we're not going to be like, we can enhance what you already know, but we're not going to teach you from scratch. So you have to have some experience to be able to move fast in that regard. But that's pretty much our hiring process right now. It takes a couple weeks for the recruiter, goes through a lot of those processes, but it's a lot of reviewing pre-work before we actually hire you.
So, moving forward towards like acquisition, you've essentially cracked the code on going viral, and we'll talk about your book here shortly, so that everyone can learn exactly what it is that you do. But for as long as I've known you, you've posted between 5,000 and 5,000 times a day, and somehow have figured out that there is a volume game here. There is a virality, whether it's like a set of ingredients that you figured out. And the first thing that I saw very early when we connected was that you carried this threading style, I think, over from like what was popular on Twitter, and brought that over into Facebook, and really has blown up. And so a lot of our network has essentially started copying you, and they've also gotten really good results with that. So maybe really briefly, what is your thought process as far as like what is actually required these days to build a social media audience? And then how has that translated into user growth and acquisition for you? Like, is it the number one path to Syllabi customers coming on board?
It's not the number one path. It certainly helps. Affiliate marketing is actually our number one path, followed by paid advertising, then followed by organic social. And that's also on purpose, because one of the biggest lessons that I learned in my first business, my marketing agency, is when you attach the biggest lead generation source to your personal brand, when your personal brand steps away, there is no business. If Syllabi solely relied on me generating leads, I would never be able to sell it. I would never be able to sell the company, because no one would buy it if I was the only reason why any leads were there. Because as soon as I stepped away, nobody would do any, everyone would churn. So I wanted to make sure that that was not the number one source. I very much believe, and I've been doing this for 20 years, Jordo. I've been doing social media marketing organically since I was 14 years old on MySpace. I've seen every one of these platforms come and go. I've more or less figured out algorithm hacks for every platform except for X and Snapchat. I've never really figured them out, but neither here nor there. Right now, the last few years, quantity is more important than quality, and that's going to upset a lot of people, because quantity leads to quality faster. The more that you post, the more formats that you try, the more that you spray theories, not just spray and pray, spray theories, ideas, content based on something, based on you think that this will work, because the faster you will figure out this format of content works, this format does not, and you can play the momentum game. So you figure out this format works. Let me retest that theory at scale. The text threads, for instance. I test a lot of different content until something works. I double down and test on that until it doesn't work. And then I rinse and repeat. I test new styles of content. I came to that style because I study a lot. I look at everybody on all platforms, but I started to see, this is very transparent. I started to see African digital marketers using that format of content, and it was going viral for them. And I did not see anyone stateside doing that strategy. And so I said, this is going viral in the marketing niche. Let me test it. Let me test that theory. And I started to do it, and it started to work. And people started to notice. And then I started to teach it, and it started to work for the people that I taught. And then I get associated with bringing that to market. But it's all about testing. It's all about testing. It drives a lot of signups, but not as many as ads, and not as many as our affiliate program, which is by far our
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah. So, and by the way, for anyone who's not aware, and maybe we can give just like a super short version of what this model looks like. The threading model is that you give there's like a primary post where there's an image, or like a primary post with like the colored background, and then you nest the comments underneath it, which immediately starts to kick it off to other people's feeds. So if someone's watching this right now and they're like, what is the minimum viable product for me? Say I've got a little widget, I've got a product or service or something. What is the succinct version of, this is the bare minimum you must be doing on a daily basis to start to see something trickle? Like what do you prescribe for that?
Well, it depends on the platform of where you're posting. I just posted yesterday. I didn't even intend for this to be a challenge. It turned into a challenge. I don't know if you saw this. I said, I challenge you to post 5+ times a day in your niche for 30 days straight. Don't quit. Your analytics will skyrocket. And oh boy, did that resonate with a whole lot of people. Like 2,000 people like that comment. And they're talking about it at a mastermind event right now. People have been sending me videos. They just like ran with that. Okay. So let's use that as an example. I post about 20 to 25 times a day, every single day on Facebook. That is the number one platform for me by far. It's the easiest for me to create content. It's where a lot of the networking in our niche happens. It's where I get a lot of speaking engagements. It's where I get a lot of podcast interviews. It's where a lot of things line up. It's where I get the most organic reach. Now, the platform might be different for you. Your primary audience might be on TikTok or LinkedIn or X or Instagram or YouTube. Doesn't matter. The minimum is whatever you can stretch yourself to commit to on a consistent basis. I really like Facebook because they have the most amount of people. So if you are on Facebook, I highly recommend doing a minimum of 5 to 10 posts every single day. Now that's going to sound daunting. It's easier than you think. I can break it down. I don't know. You want me to break it down for time's sake, or
Well, I think we should do is
do a couple
probably plug
videos,
your,
do a couple text threads, a couple images.
yeah, but we're gonna save the really good stuff for your book, which I'm stoked to plug as well and break all this down. But for anyone that's watching this right now, and I should take this to heart because I'll post once every other day or something along those lines. I could certainly take a page out of that book myself. When we dive into retention specifically, I've noticed, because we see a lot of analytics on our side. We see information products, we see traditional SaaS, we see AI SaaS, and even AI SaaS aggregators, which have like a lot of the tools built in, and you can access all the models to do that. And there's a lot more so even than traditional SaaS. I'm noticing a lot of window shoppers, a lot of people toying with things, or people just kind of not super committing to a particular product, which is even if the offer and the product is great, they are signing up for every possible tool to kind of, they're bored and they're just playing with it, or they're like, they might actively be trying to find the very best one. So from your guys' perspective, you must have A, noticed that, but B, had to build systems around retaining customers who are maybe traditionally more window shoppers. Certainly you're going to get some great clients as well, but that lower or middle element of the audience has to be retained as well. So how do you guys think about retention? How do you approach it? And maybe if there's some mistakes that you guys have made that we can help others avoid the road bumps, but maybe even more so, what's worked well for you for keeping people in a fairly competitive space?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question, and it is the downside. So I love the term window shopper, right? Like we've kind of called this AI tourism a little bit. And I'm even a part of the problem because the content that I create is like, ooh, shiny object. Ooh, shiny object. Look at this new tool. Look at this new tool that does X, Y, and Z. And people are no longer committing to learning one particular software. They're jumping ship immediately. And that, especially when you have virality. So this is the potential downside of having a consumer software tool and a viral engine, is you're going to reach a lot of those people that are not the right fit for your software. And so what happens is it artificially increases your churn because of those window shoppers that come in, because you're getting, we do 2,000 to 3,000 new trials per month. It's a great problem to have. But the real problem is that a lot of them don't stick around because they're chasing something that they're not really ready for. And they're really not the right target demographic to use the tool in the first place. The importance of really diving deep, and something that we've learned, we use post-hog to dive into churn analytics of user cohorts. So if you only look at the surface level churn, it's not going to paint the entire picture for you. It's going to paint the picture of I'm in a good position or I'm in a bad position. But you don't really know because you have to look at, okay, the people that are churning really should never have been customers in the first place. So let's rule them out. Let's look at which industries are signing up and sticking around. They're creating content. They have much lower churn. And so that's what we've been focusing on. So like we've always focused on real estate because we've always seen an adoption in real estate agents and mortgage brokers that like using Syllaby. So we've had historically much lower churn, longer LTV in that industry specifically. So what have we done? We brought on a expert mortgage broker that has an audience in that space on our board of advisors to help us ideate features and strategies and put us in front of that audience. And we've created some specific features that help that specific industry. For instance, in our URL to video feature, we support and have trained Redfin and Zillow. So if you're a real estate agent and you have a house listed on Redfin or Zillow, you can copy and paste that URL and create a house tour video, essentially with your own voiceover, and you can add your logo on there, your license number, and then you can schedule and publish that out to your social media to help sell more houses. That's what we've been really focusing on this past year, is really diving deep into the analytics of user cohorts and seeing which user bases are sticking around the longest, they are the stickiest, they are subscribing to a higher tier monthly subscription, they're using it a lot more, they're more vocal, they're more interested. And I don't necessarily want to stop the fire hose of new users coming in, but it can be a little bit of a trap that you get yourself in. So, the next fully dedicated startup that I do in the future, I personally am really going to have to weigh that pro and con of, do I let my fire hose of marketing just open the floodgates, or do we slow down and really build for one target clientele in mind? That's kind of what you need to focus on, and some of the lessons that I've learned over the last 3 years doing this.
Yeah, because you can't really like unring the bell if you had started this knowing that it was going to be a tool for real estate agents and in that space. You can't roll that back and say, we're only real estate now, right? Like that would cannibalize the whole thing. You could probably white
Right.
label or break it
Yeah.
out to
Yeah.
that market, but it's all lessons there. Let me ask a couple rapid fire questions here. Number one, what is something that costs less than $500 that you cannot live without as an entrepreneur? Software, could be a physical product too.
Caffeine. That's what my mind went
Fuel,
to.
fueled by caffeine.
Fueled by caffeine is what my immediate mind went to. I mean, the Chat GPT is a clear one. I use it pretty much every day. I use a lot of these LLMs, but let's go with Chat GPT and caffeine.
If you were to give advice to someone who wanted to start an AI SaaS and you had to give them maybe one sentence of the purest gold advice about how to maybe avoid the biggest pitfall, or one big piece of advice for someone who's wanting to start, maybe they want to vibe code or they're inspired by what it is that you built. What's your single piece of advice to them?
Can I curse on this? You care if I
We
swear?
could probably bleep it out, but I don't know, go yellow language instead of red language.
Screw building in stealth, build in public, use the hero's journey to bring your audience along the journey with you as you create something with them. And
I love it. If you were to identify the single greatest challenge or the single greatest mistake that you made as an entrepreneur, as you've been building Syllabi, what would you call out for other people to avoid at all costs?
don't force drastic UI changes. Allow your users to switch back to an older UI before you force them into the new UI. This is something that we've like a really just practical lesson that we've learned and that we're experiencing right now, actually. Some, we're putting out a switchback to a UI functionality because people hate change. Even if you think that this is the better, more streamlined UI UX, that's not your decision to make. Your users will tell you. Ease them in. Don't force UI UX changes.
Yeah, because people take a lot longer to embrace changes than you do because they're not excited about it. They don't understand the change in many cases. Yeah, makes sense. If you were to build your absolute dream business, the final big money is no object, time is no object, you have the killer team. What is the future version of Austin going to build as his Hail Mary pass?
We're already germinating this idea, actually, but it is home loans for content creators and gig workers because it's very difficult to get
Can't get
approved for
approvals.
loans with good rates. You can't get approvals. I'm not going to get too in the weeds there because it probably is something that we're going to do pretty soon. But content creators, influencers make a lot of money, and the old system of getting approved for loans is not supportive of them.
Brilliant idea. Finding one specific market with a huge issue. That's beautiful. I want to plug your book. The book is Virality. We will link to it down below for you to go grab a copy. And we intentionally are not discussing all the fine details because you should go get the book and implement it because I've seen what Austin has been able to achieve. And if you just scratch the surface on any one of those strategies, you're virtually guaranteed. As you mentioned, quantity over quality is going to help you to find the quality sooner. So give us a quick plug for the book and what's like one big golden nugget that you're super proud of for having written that book. Like what in there is going to be the biggest standout lesson that people will learn from that?
It's the exact playbook that if you actually do what I teach you in there and you stick to it, you're pretty much guaranteed to succeed. This is proven not just for myself, but I have done this hundreds of times with different businesses in different niches. I've taught this stuff at university. It's 20 years of practical lessons in marketing and the exact playbooks that are working right now focused on human psychology. Yes, there's like tactics and strategies of features for specific platforms, and it's a little future casting, but a lot of the strategies will never change because I've been doing them for 20 years. It's very much like a workbook as well. So at the end of each chapter, it's there's a section in there. What are your three biggest takeaways? What are your next three action steps? And what is the timeline that you're going to complete those in? So not only will you learn, but the book will help you stay and hold yourself accountable. But you got to put in the
Love that.
work.
Yep, that just doing it even through the fear or not knowing what to say, you just get out there and start talking. You open up your mouth, let the words start flowing, or in the digital version, you start typing it out. Incredible stuff. I wish we could talk for 3 hours. Maybe we will in a future episode, but I'm gonna put some links
We
down
should.
below, not only to the book, but also to Syllabi. And you should definitely look up Austin's content on social media, especially on Facebook, just to see this stuff in action. He's getting, in some cases, hundreds or even thousands of shares on these content. And it's like he's making 10,000 bucks a month or more just from Facebook content. So it's like your entire life is paid for. Your hard costs are covered just by Facebook if you can tap into some of these things. So super, super valuable. Thank you, Austin, for jumping on to this. I'm gonna have to have you back. This is not nearly enough time to cover all the great gold that you have to share. Thank you guys for diving into this. Remember, build great products, get customers scalably, keep them for life, and then shoot for that eventual exit of a lifetime. My name is Jordan Mederick. Thanks for jumping into this episode. We'll see you guys in the next one. Nice.